Getting games, having games in your classroom when this is appropriate. Again, 2-year-olds don't play games very well. They don't even do water day very well, apparently. Games like Operation, Go Fish, especially some of the big cards that may have symbols and different things like that, not necessarily with the numbers. Board games, card games where children get to follow directions and take turns and get along with others. Now, some of the ways that I see these things go terribly wrong. I went into a classroom not too long ago and they had 12 children playing, I'm trying to think of what the game was. It doesn't matter what the game was. 12 children playing the game, that's ridiculous. You know how long you have to wait for your turn when there's 11 other people between you? And she was like, they're just not doing well with this. I'm like, yes, they're not doing well with this. So make sure when you're doing these things that you are at the table and you are teaching. You're an active participant in the game. You are showing the children how to count it out. You're showing the children how to do what they need to do, and you're making sure that everybody is taking their turn. And remember that it's a learning opportunity to have that opportunity with the game. We talked earlier about a photo album. You can do this. This is one of those activities you can send home for parents, or you can do it in your classroom as a timeline of what's gone on this year. How many of you have taken pictures of your children at the beginning of the year, and then you take pictures of your kids at the end of the year? And you're like, oh, what happened to my, they come in and they've changed and grown so much by the time, they've been with you for that year. So kind of having a timeline that shows children sort of what's happened throughout the year. Why are things like timelines and schedules and picture schedules, why are those things so important for children? They like routines, that's very good. Visual, because our children can't read, and so they're able to do that. But also, one of the things that I think we often forget about preschoolers is they are terrible with time. I hear teachers say things to them, children cry, I want my mama. Your mama will be here at 3. And 3 what? 3 days? 3 weeks? They don't have any concept of time. I had a little boy that came into my classroom my first year teaching every day between Thanksgiving and Christmas and said, does Santa Claus come today? And I would be like, no, Jay, it's not today. Zero concept of time. It's very difficult for children to track time. So for them to be able to see visually either themselves, you can have parents do this and see themselves having grown up, or what's gone on in your classroom. Remember at the beginning of the year when y'all were all small and when we were just starting, and our Halloween party, and they can kind of see what's gone on throughout the year. Helping families and children. This is a stretch for some programs, but for some programs, either finding parents these sort of resources or being able to offer these at your center, helping families, planning for groups of parents to discuss topics that are important to them, such as separation anxiety, divorce, a new child in the family. How many of you have a child in your class who's had a new brother or sister, and the mother's like, I just don't know why all of a sudden he's acting up. I'm like, really? Because you have just sent his world into a tailspin. And there's nothing to be done about it, and that's not wrong, but we need to deal with it and address it. So those types of things that are important to parents and that parents need to do. And it doesn't always have to be a huge formal group, like my Boohoo Breakfast, for example, that I do. It allows parents to talk about how hard it is for them to separate from their children. It allows them to get that energy out. It allows them to stay in the building while these first hour of school is going on when they're so nervous. But it's not something that I do necessarily on an ongoing basis. I mean, we're not meeting every Monday to talk about separation anxiety. It's just a meeting here, a meeting there, so that parents have an opportunity to discuss those things.